Hey boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of New Stuff TV. I'm your host Antoine Fofo Richardson, because today we're checking out this joint from Sony. This is the Sony Bravia Theater Quad. They call it the Quad because it's got 4 speakers in there. Like there's 4 speakers, but each speaker has 4 speakers. So why don't they call it the Sony 16? I don't know. I don't want to get involved in that. Either way, we're going to talk about it. Now look, this is what I'm going to call my quote unquote review for all of you out there who like to call everything a review. This is because I've actually used it at this point, like, pretty in depth. But, I don't do specs and stuff. It's a very untechnical, candid channel. This is how I do things around here. But I do want to tell you, I have 2 other videos on this thing, and it's amazing. Anyways, the 2 other videos, the first one was when I was using it first, I did not have a TV to go with it. I moved the Bravia 7 downstairs because I was expecting the Bravia 9 to arrive. So right now I got it hooked up and I'm watching it with the Bravia 9 75-inch model. And dude, it's a match made in heaven. It's just the, Sony's premier TV for 2024 and Sony's premier sound system for 2024. They got this whole thing where you say theaters coming home or something like that. Cinema's coming home. They're doing their thing, man. What can I say? Anyways, so when I first tried it, I didn't have a Sony TV to hook it up with, so I couldn't use the Sony Center Sync feature. To be honest with you, I kind of forgot about it because I never use it anyway, because I always feel like I get enough center channel. But in this instance, I hooked it up to a laser cinema with a 100-inch screen, and I just started watching my content. And that's what that video is about, is how deceptive it is. Man, I'm looking at it right now. I'm sitting here looking at it, and I was like, wow, it sounds like sound is coming either from out of the screen or out of that center speaker I have from my Sony SA-1000 setup. But sure enough, it was unplugged and it was off. So I was really taken aback by the center channel performance. Well, the phantom center channel performance of the Theater Quad. That's video number 1 you should probably watch. The second video was when I compared it to the likes of the Bravia Theater Bar 9, as well as the Sony AM1000 with all the component speakers hooked up. And I tiered them from good, better to best. Now, here's the thing. When you are looking at getting like a soundbar, look, okay, I don't know who you are, like what kind of person you are. Do you want a sound bar to go across your TV stand and maybe get some wireless rears like the RS5s and hook them up in a sub like the SW5? That's cool. That is totally fine, okay? But if you want to take it up like 5 notches, you need to step it up to the Theater Quad. Now, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of an AVR system like the AM1000 with all the speakers everywhere and running all the wires and stuff, be my guest. That's the ultimate way to do it, and that's the way I prefer to do it. But, dude, this Quad ain't no joke, man. It's like very close to AM1000 performance. I don't know, somebody might want to punch me in the face for saying something like that. It's kind of blasphemous, but it is what it is. It sounds fantastic. Great performance out of this set of speakers. Now look, design and flexibility, that's a huge thing when it comes to these types of systems, man. If you're used to a soundbar, sound bars are not always the prettiest thing. Actually, they're never the prettiest thing. You just don't want to see them. You do your best to hide them. But the only thing you can do is put it on a TV stand and just let it live, okay? Because you need it out there. The Quad, they're not pretty, but yet they're beautiful. It's because they're so simple. There's really nothing to it, man. I'm sitting here looking at it, and it's just a gray square with some beautiful, or I keep saying the word beautiful, with some plain old gray fabric wrapped around it, man. It's like, hey, I don't want to sound sexist or nothing, but like, I'm talking to the fellas right now. So ladies, just put it on pause for a second. Talk to the fellas. Fellas, you know what I'm talking about. When you see the girl and she ain't got her makeup on, and she just, she might have did her hair that day, but she kind of dressed down, and she ain't got no makeup on, but she is still fine, man. And you still want it. I'm just saying, that's what it's like. It's like the girl with no makeup who is still super fly and she doesn't need it. That's what the Sony Quad is, man. But this is done intentionally because that's part of the design and aesthetic. It's supposed to just kind of fit in your home and not call any attention to itself like typical speakers would, right? Now, this is actually designed to go on a wall. That's my true belief. They come with built-in stands that you just kind of assemble and put them on there. So you don't have to worry about going out and buying stands. You can just set them on your TV stand or in your bookshelf like I got mine in the back. But you can take those stands off the bottom of it, and then you can actually mount them onto a wall because they do have wall brackets. And I know people ask in my other videos, where did I get my stands from? Bruh, I bought these stands in 2002 with an older Sony AVR that I purchased back then. I have no idea. I think I got them from like Circuit City. That place don't exist no more, so let's just let that be done. So you're gonna have to go find your own stinking stands. Back to the aesthetics. They hide in plain sight. And when you do see them, they're part of the aesthetic and they look fantastic. Now, even though the setup doesn't come with a fifth speaker being the center channel, it does come with a fifth element, which is the connection box. This is the brains of the operation. On the back of it, you're going to get your LAN input, your HDMI out with eARC, your HDMI in, and last you get your 3.5mm connection for your Sony center sync output. Now, I've already stressed to you how good these things sound without a physical center channel, but once you hook up that Sony Bravia 9 or Bravia 7 or X90 or whatever Sony Bravia compatible TV you got, once you hook it up, man, you're going to get some great center channel output. I'm talking dialogue for days. In fact, they have voice Zoom 3 at this point. So like if you hook up center sync, like there should be no reason. You should not be needing to turn on the subtitles or nothing, man, because it's already a peak performer when it comes to giving you dialogue. And then once you add that Sony, that center sync, it's just, everything just works in unison, man. All four of the speakers, all four of the quads are going to work in harmony with this Bravia TV to bring you the absolute best dialogue you can get out of a system. Now, the remote is super tiny and I doubt you'll be using it a lot, but I'm gonna go ahead and run through it real fast because I gotta get to the app, because that's where you're gonna probably hang out the most, if at all. You got your input, your sound field, your voice zoom. Okay, I did talk about that, where you bring out that dialogue. You got your volume, your bass rocker to go up or down on the bass. We'll get to that in a second when we talk about this SW5. Your night mode to kind of just pull back on some of that stuff so you don't disturb people at night. Then, of course, you got to have a mute button, right? But you're not going to be using that because most of the time you're going to be hanging out in the app. When you actually need to connect some stuff and get it done, you're going to go into your app. I'm looking to share my screen with you guys. You're going to go into the app and let's see here. Boom, there it is. That's your homepage of the app, man. You got your night mode again, sound field, you got your voice zoom. I keep it off because I just don't need it. The dialogue is just there. It's front and center, man. Everything just works well. It sounds fantastic. Then you got your rear levels because you need to control these rear speakers. I keep mine on 2 actually because they just do their job. And let's talk about this bass, man. I got an SW5 hooked up. This is like the best wireless subwoofer I've ever heard in my life. This thing is very hard to localize. Well, you do have to put it in the right spot in the room, but it's pretty hard to localize. But it just brings the pain, dude. I'm talking ground shaking, wall rumbling, like, oh my God, I felt like I was really there type of bass. It goes all the way up to 10. That was 10. Okay, but dude, don't be going all the way up there. That's insane. Keep it at 2. Okay, between 0 and 2, if that ain't enough, something's wrong with you. But then, of course, you can actually change your viewing position. This is a long couch. I think it's like an 8-foot couch. If I'm sitting on the left all the time, maybe I want my sound to be more optimized towards where I'm sitting because I'm the king of the castle and, you know, everybody else can suffer. So I might want to optimize it so I can change my viewing position. Then you can get into all these other settings where you can change, like, or not change anything, but you can actually kind of just monitor stuff and update it and all that good stuff. Look, you got sound field optimization, sound field settings, height of the sound field, IMAX enhanced mode, acoustic center sync. That's what it's called, acoustic center sync. Turn that bad boy on. You're going to want that. Let's get out of this app, man, because honestly, once you actually set this thing up, it's going to perform extremely well. You might need to do 1 or 2 tweaks, but then you're actually going to be done with it and not even need to come back. So I'm just going to put that away and talk about my gripes with Sony. Okay, Sony, man, I got a bone to pick with you, bro. Why you do me like this? You got Bluetooth, you got Apple AirPlay, you got Spotify, but now we do not have Chromecast. What happened? Why you do me like that? Why you take out the Chromecast from the Bravia Theater 9 and the Quad and probably the 8 too? I haven't heard the 8, but I don't think it has it either. I'm going to need some of that Chromecast back, Sony. I'm just saying, some of us really liked it and enjoy it in our sound system. So please, whatever you got to do, bring Chromecast back. The other ones are fine. The Apple AirPlay and the Spotify, and of course Bluetooth, we need that, but We kind of need that Chromecast, man. There's some Google people out there. Just show us some love, man. Now, before I get out of here, I got to tell y'all about the Atmos performance. Yes, it's 4 speakers, but they have Atmos, front and rear. I'm going to tell y'all about that experience because it was... Look, I know this is blasphemous to say, but when I talked about the Theater Bar 9 being good, the Quad being better, and the AM1000 being the best, the Atmos performance is very close to what I was getting with the AM1000 with physical Atmos speakers in the air, like in the ceiling, okay? It was very close. It wasn't better, but it was darn good. What I did was, as I'm watching this Bravia 9, I put in Ambulance. Have y'all seen that movie on 4K UHD? Ooh, man. That movie is nonstop. It just doesn't stop. We're talking bullets, explosions, car flippings, car blowing uppings, car crashings, fighting, blood, everything. That movie has everything. My emotions were really high and my heart was racing. It was so immersive watching it with this sound setup, man. The Atmos experience as the rounds fly, you know, past you, or like a police car flips overhead, or it comes from the back, and like the helicopter. There's a lot of helicopters in that movie, and you could hear them. You can hear the positioning, the sound imaging, and the positioning on the Quad setup is it's just a great job. Like, Sony, you should be really patting yourselves on the back with what you've done with this system. This is an amazing sound setup, and I think it's just really made for. It's not made for like everybody, because one, you know, it's a little pricey, right? This is Sony's premier, I'm gonna call it premier soundbar, because what else could you call it? But it's not a soundbar either, because you have the soundbars, right? But it's better than those. But it's not like an AVR system, but it's just as good. So it's for the person who really wants just the best performance possible, but you don't want a sound bar, right? Because sound bars aren't pretty and you need more width, you need more soundstage. So you don't want to go to an AVR because that's too much work. That's like going down a rabbit hole, man. Then you got to run all the wires, possibly get an installer, who knows? So the next best thing is a Sony Bravia Theater Quad. Either way, I'm not an expert in this kind of stuff, but what I do know is, boy, y'all got to watch Ambulance. That was a good movie and a great experience, man. Y'all keep being good to each other, and I'll see you when I see you.